Is there ever a time I recommend working for free? Absolutely. My name is Ryan Cow. I'm a freelance cinematographer and video editor. And in this video, I'm gonna answer some of your burning questions about being a freelance video creator. Let's get into it. When I'm pricing out video projects, it heavily depends on the project itself and the complexity, whether I'm quoting for a day rate or for a project rate. If something is pretty simple and I can very simply estimate how many days or hours it's gonna take, a day rate makes sense for that. But if it's something that might involve an extensive amount of pre-production or post-production or just creative direction in the video production process, then I typically would lean towards a project rate. In some instances, let's say there's a ton of feedback from clients after hours. If you quoted for a day rate, you might be working on some things that go beyond that typical 8 to 10 hour window. Quoting for a project rate can sometimes help you to buffer for that added time. Doing work for free or even doing spec work out of your own pocket, such a strong move. There's always this kind of weird mentality that I think is kind of coming around to more and more people, like, oh, you always deserve to be paid what you're worth. The fact of the matter is, you can't always pay for experience. Experience counts. Nowadays, clients want to know that you can do the work that they're looking to potentially hire you for. There's been so many projects, both post-production and shooting, or even just assisting on set, where I really just did it for the experience, the knowledge, and being able to surround myself with people who are operating at a higher level, learning as much as I can from anywhere I can. My advice to creators is that if a project hits your plate that has a rental budget already associated with it, and those are the regular things that you are dealing with and working on, then you probably don't need to own equipment. But if clients are frequently approaching you and have no extra budget associated for equipment or rental fees, then you should probably consider owning at least a camera that can meet their needs. 24 frames per second versus 30 frames per second. It's kind of a weird argument online. I do feel strongly about leaning into 24 frames per second as a standard. I think while for certain forms of online content or web series, yeah, 30 frames per second might be useful. But if we're talking about the deliveries that most clients are expecting for freelance projects, whether it's for television, whether it's for narrative work or commercial, it's usually gonna be 24 frames or 25 frames if you're in Europe. Editing software, it's definitely a bit of a challenging topic these days. I have been editing inside of DaVinci Resolve now for the last 4 years. And I gotta say, it's probably one of the best decisions I've made in my entire post-production career. It's fast, it's stable, they're constantly updating it with new features. I'm sure we all know Premiere was kind of the go-to and the industry standard, but I'm finding that more and more creative professionals and even post-production houses at very high levels are working with projects entirely inside of DaVinci. I highly suggest, if you haven't checked it out, big benefit, it is free. I think most people don't really need a dedicated website or portfolio in order to have a successful freelance career. We have a really powerful tool at our disposal with our social platforms and social media. Digital business cards are kind of the thing nowadays. My advice to people looking for the best ways or practices to showing their work is show more of it than less. I think people are more concerned in a diversity of work and a versatility of the type of work you can do than just the perfect 5 curated projects on your page. I personally have not used AI in my video editing, but I have used it in some cases for pre-visualization as a cinematography tool. I think there's ways that AI can be really powerful, and yeah, maybe there's some fear as to it replacing people's jobs, but the huge thing to consider and think about is I don't think AI is gonna be able to recreate the human experience and storytelling abilities that we have as humans. I am absolutely more creative in the evening, particularly the late evening. I've kind of always been a night owl since I was younger, but I often have my most productive editing sessions and business ideas, creative ideas, probably from like 7 p.m. to 1 a.m. Having tight deadlines can sometimes be a huge motivating factor. My inner perfectionist can sometimes get the best of me, and sometimes when I have generous timelines, I find myself procrastinating more rather than just executing on those ideas while they're fresh. I don't think we should be scared of timelines. It's definitely something we need to get used to because it's never gonna change, unfortunately. I've found myself finding inspiration outside of film or television or content we regularly consume online in the stillness of life. Static frames of a house up against a beautiful sky, or a silhouette of a tree, or maybe somebody standing on a corner, and thinking through those emotions that I feel in that moment. I think there's beauty in some of the small details within our world, and that's something that I'm trying to inject more into my storytelling. We did it. Now, I want to see what you can accomplish. Join me in my series of classes on Skillshare to learn how to expand your freelance editing business step by step. Click on the link below to get started. Can't wait to see you there.